Welcome you all to this fifth and the last video on the last lesson. This video is a video of sadness. Firstly, because it is the sad story of Emmanuel, France and the people of Alsace-Lorraine. This sadness is added because we also are going to end our lesson with this fifth video. So, it is a sad story for me as well. In the last video, towards the end of it, we found that everybody in the classroom was busy learning and practicing their writing. Even those students who were not regular on other days, today they were really very much concentrating. They have focused on their learning because they know this is the last day of learning French. We will no more get any chance to learn our own language in our own land. We have lost our identity in our own land, and the teacher who has taught us for long 40 years is going to leave us forever. So, when they were doing their activity and everybody was silent, there was pin drop silence. Suddenly, a pigeon cooed in a low voice. Pigeon, we discussed it, it's a bird, that bug-bugum, that sound it makes. So, this pigeon made a low sound on the roof, and then Franz asked a question to himself. He said, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? Will they make them sing in German? Will this they here means, they here refers to the German people. The German people, they have occupied our land, they have captured our land, they have made our land their land, they have imposed their language on us. From tomorrow, our children will have to learn their language. Will they impose this same thing on the birds also? This question is significant, I told it earlier. Superficially, one may say this is a small child's wondering, his small child's speculation. Yes, small children, they think and they act in some very strange ways. So, the small child might have been thinking that the way we have found pigeons singing all these days, like singing bug-bugum, he might have thought that this is actually a French sound. This is how French pigeons sing. But if they are compelled to sing in a certain other language, their bug-bugum will become changed and they will start singing in a different way, in the German way. This is one thing that my child might have been thinking in that way. That is a small child's innocence. But the fact is that we all know that animals other than human beings, they have a universal language. They do not differ like human beings in speech. We human beings are different. We speak one language, others speak other languages. Throughout the whole world, there are languages and cultures and differences. It is this language that makes us different. And it is this language that you see, because of the language, the Germans are showing their power over the French people. They have occupied the land and they are depriving the French people of their own language. So, they are showing the supremacy of their power. Now, the question is, if other animals have a universal language which is the same all over. For example, a cat, at your home it will make a meow sound. If it is taken to South Africa, all the cats anywhere in the world, they make the same sound. The same thing applies to cows or birds or any other animal. By this, the author might be pointing to the fact that human power is limited. Germans might have thought that they are all supreme, they have so much power, they have imposed their supremacy over the French-speaking people. But yes, your supremacy, your power is limited. You can impose your power over human beings only. But there are other animals and birds over whom you have no power. You cannot control them. They have a universal song, and by this, maybe human psychology and human nature is compared with the nature of other animals. Human beings, they divide themselves with certain things. One is language. With language, they divide. Some of them feel superior over others. But animals, they have a unity. They have a fraternity. They speak the same language. They sing in the same way. Among them, there is no division. There is no classification. There is no upper and lower caste. It is the human beings who do it. So, the limitation of human power and the unlimited and the universal appeal of the language and song of other animals, that is what is projected here. That you human beings, you consider yourselves to be the best of creations, but you are the people who divide among yourselves who think one supreme over the other, and you fight over language, but see other animals, they have a universal language. They have unity, they have fraternity. You can learn things from these small animals, these ordinary animals. Maybe this is the message that the author is trying to convey to us with this kind of sentence spoken by the narrator Franz. Coming to the next paragraph, whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair, gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. So they were writing, but sometimes you see there is curiosity. The small child, in his mind, he is thinking about the books which were a nuisance earlier, it is now his friends. The teacher whom he never liked, this teacher has become his friend now, he has started loving the man. And out of curiosity, he is sometimes looking at the teacher, how the teacher is moving, what he is doing. So he said, whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair, motionless without any movement. M. Hamel was sitting on his chair, he was not making any movement, he was sitting standstill, and while sitting he was gazing at one thing, first at one thing and then at another. If you look at something for a while, you gaze means to have a fixed look. Then you look at something else and you fix your look for a while. This means, the narrator said that as if M. Hamel was trying to fix in his mind, as if he was trying to make a permanent impact on his mind, it is if he is trying to capture a picture of the whole classroom in his mind that he can cherish later on. Had it been like today's world, people would have become busy taking selfie and video recordings, etc. But that was not the time. So M. Hamel was trying to fix in his mind, he was trying to take picture with the help of his mental camera, that the picture of this classroom, so that after many years he will cherish them, he will love them. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place. The word fancy actually means imagination, but here it is just used to make, it is a sad expression, the way we say afsus, oh, oof, this kind of expression, fancy. For 40 years he had been there in the same place, which is garden outside the window and his class in front, the same picture, the same man, the same classroom. This classroom, he used to take his class in this classroom for long 40 years. This is the same place it was, the garden outside the classroom, it was the same garden, and the class in front, the same picture it was. Just like that, only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. Changes are there over a period of 40 years. Certain changes have occurred. What are the changes? One change is only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. Desks and benches have become smooth. Worn smooth means they have become smooth because of wearing. W-E-A-R, wear, it does not only mean wear cloth. When you use a thing for a good number of days, then its first appearance, the newness is gone. Anything that you use for long days, its newness goes away the more you use it. So, the same applies to furniture also. For example, you have brought a furniture, a desk and a bench, and then initially it was not that smooth, its surface was rough, but as you use it with your usage, it becomes smooth gradually. So, the only change over the last 40 years is, one change is that the desks and benches have become smooth, they are not that new now, they are not that rough spaced now, their surface is not that rough as it was at the beginning. Another change is the walnut trees in the garden were taller. Walnut is a fruit. There was a walnut tree in the garden and this has become taller over the last 40 years. Another change is the hop vine, H-O-P, hop vine. Hop vine is a kind of vine, you know, vine, creeper. Creeper is a kind of plant that creeps, that it embraces a tree and grows. So, hop vine is a kind of creeper. The author is saying, the narrator is saying the hop vine that he had planted himself, this he means M. Hamel. It was M. Hamel's own garden, he loved the school, he loved the garden. So, in the garden he himself had planted a hop vine. The question might be, who had planted the hop vine in the garden? It was M. Hamel himself who planted it, and this hop vine twined about the windows to the roof. T-W-I-N-E, twine, you see. This word T-W-I-N-E, twine, firstly it is similar to twin. The word twin is very common. When a woman gives birth to two children at a time, you call it these two children twin. Twin, this has also TW. The word two is reflected. This means when there is two, it is twin. And here again it is used with a verb. This twin is a verb. Twine, what is it? You must have noticed flexible wire. Flexible wire, you might have noticed that one wire twines around the other one. For example, this is a wire. This is a flexible wire. And what the picture is like this. Yes? Two wires twined about. You must have also noticed that there are some plants, some creepers which take shelter on a tree, and then taking shelter on the tree, it twines. Yes? So, like coiling, coil, you know, COIL, coil. So, the hopvine that Hamel had planted himself, this hopvine have twined about the windows to the roof. The hopvine has grown, it has gone up, and it has twined, and it has first reached the window, then from the window it has reached the roof. So, this is a change. So, changes are there. Over the last 40 years, desks and benches have become smooth because of long use, and then the walnut tree has grown taller. The hopvine that Hamel himself had planted has twined about the tree, it has reached the window, then it has gone up to the roof. Every other thing is the same garden, the same school, the same situation. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. The narrator is saying, the teacher, 40 years he has worked here, and now he has to go. Suddenly the order has come that no more French will be taught. His attachment to the school, his attachment to the garden, the hopvine that he himself had planted, his attachment to the children, attachment to this area, this region, attachment to the people. If you live in a place for 40 years, you must have established a great rapport with the people in the society. Leaving all these things, he has to go to his native place, and tomorrow he is going, and from the upstairs the sound of trunks being packed by his sister. His sister is packing trunks, he is making things ready for their departure tomorrow. All these things must have broken the heart of Hamel. This is what Franz is thinking. But see the courage, the determination of the man Hamel. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. The dedication, the love for teaching and learning. This man is teaching everything. He had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After writing, we had a lesson in history. Grammar was taught, writing was taught, now history is taught. And then the babies chanted their Babe Bibo Boo. Babe Bibo Boo is a song children sing. So, small children are also engaged. So, this is also a part of their regular school activities. In a particular period, this period is given when small children will sing this song. So, after a lesson in history, this Babe Bibo Boo was sung by the children. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. Yes, remember old Hauser, the former mayor, the former postmaster, other villagers, they were occupying the last benches. Now again a reference to the old Hauser. What was he doing? He had put on his spectacles. We earlier found his spectacles were lying across the pages of his book. Now he has put on his spectacles. And putting on his spectacles, he is holding his primer in both hands. In both hands, in this way, he is holding the primer. Spectacles are there like me, and this book also, the way I am holding, he is holding his primer. Spell the letters with them. Yes, during childhood he did not learn. Now it is too late. Now there is no chance to learn their own language. So out of sadness, as emotion has overpowered his mind, he is learning like a small child. He is spelling the letters. You could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion. He was crying while spelling the letters, and while spelling the letters, his voice trembled. He could not speak nicely. He could not read nicely. There was the up and down in his voice. And it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. The way he was doing this, anyone who would look at him will at the same time feel like laughing and crying, because Laughing because he was behaving in a funny way, and crying because the whole situation was very tragic. It was very touching. It was very unfortunate. How well I remember it, that last lesson. Franz is now remembering this, the whole thing. I still remember how sad it was, how tragic it was, how touching it was. All at once, the church clock struck 12. When all these things were going, suddenly the church clock struck 12. This is a very nice expression, very important expression. The church clock struck 12. We have watch and watches show us time. Yes, the church clock, the clock in the church. The church clock struck, S-T-R-U-C-K, struck 12. What is this? Struck is the past form of strike. Struck 12. Struck is the past form of strikes, and this word is also used about a watch and its time. Watches show us time. Nowadays, watches do not make sound unless we put on alarm. Earlier there were wall clocks. You must have seen these wall clocks, and in every hour, when an hour completes 11 o'clock, there will be 11 sounds, tang 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 tang, such sounds it will make. Whatever be the number of hours, the equal number of striking will be there. So a clock strikes 12. It means that there was 12 o'clock, and this we could know from the striking of the sound of the clock. The clock struck 3. It means it was 3. And this we came to know from the sound of the clock. So the church clock struck 12, it means the church clock made a sound, and with the sound it indicated that it was 12, it was noon. Then the Angelus. Angelus is a kind of prayer in Christian churches that is made at noon. A kind of prayer made in churches at noon, that is Angelus. So at 12, church clock has already announced that it is 12. And it is time for Angelus. At the same time, at the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill sounded under our windows. You remember when Franz was on his way to school, some things distracted his attention. He wanted to spend his day out of doors. He did not want to come to school. There are certain things which attracted him, which tempted him. One such thing was the drill of the Prussian soldiers. They were drilling, they were doing their exercise. Franz was very interested. He was attracted by this. These Prussian soldiers from their drill, they are coming, and their trumpet, it means the instrument through which they make sound. Their trumpet was sounded near the school windows. Those Prussian soldiers have come this way, and they have come near the window of the school, and here they have sounded their trumpets. See, these people have captured our land, and now they are showing their power, and they have come very close to our school also. Here also they are sounding their trumpet. They are celebrating their victory over our country, over our land. How sad it is. M. Hamel stood up. Very pale. Pale means the face, your face loses brightness. It becomes, it is very poor in color. The liveliness is gone. This is pale. M. Hamel stood up very pale in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. M. Hamel was sitting all this time, but now he stood. And when he stood, he looked pale, he looked sad. There was no luster, there was no charm on his face. And Franz said that I have never seen him look so tall. Why? Has he suddenly grown very tall? This may be that M. Hamel was showing confidence. Yes, you Prussians, you are showing your supremacy, but we are Frenchmen. We are proud of our language. So when you stand with confidence, you automatically look a bit, your complete height is seen. Otherwise, you may be sitting casually, his complete height may not be visible. Secondly, it may be that all these years, since the teacher was very strict, Franz did not have the courage ever to look at him so well. Today he has got the chance, and he is looking at the man from top to bottom, and he is looking completely, and that is why he has seen the man for the first time so well, and he has said that I have never seen him look so tall. Standing up, M. Hamel said, "My friends," said he, but something choked him. C-H-O-K-E, choke means when you cannot take breath. Dom bando obostha. You cannot take breath. There is suffocation. There is abnormal situation inside your throat. You cannot take breath. Emmanuel became so emotional because of this tragedy that he could not speak. He said, "My friends, then he could not continue. He could not go on. We earlier found went on, and now it is gone. It means he could not continue. So he could not speak anymore. Then he turned to the blackboard. Yes, he turned to the blackboard. He could not speak. He wanted to say something to the students, to the children, and now he could not speak because of emotion, because of the tragedy, and he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might. Bearing on means bearing on. It means applying, using. He applied all his might. Might means here strength. Whatever bodily strength he had, he applied. He used the whole strength of his body. Used a piece of chalk. He became very emotional. He could not speak, and he applied. He bearing on it means applying, using all the power, all the physical power, physical strength that he had. He wrote something on the board. What did he write? He wrote as large as he could in a very large, with a very large letters. He wrote. I am also writing with large letters. Vive la France. This is vive. Vive la France. It means long live France. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall. Lean. If I do like this, I am leaning forward. If I do like this, I am leaning backward. He could not continue standing. He lost his balance and he leaned against the wall. Like this he became. He leaned against the wall, and without a word, he could not speak. He made a gesture to us, made a signal. Gesture means a signal. He made a kind of sign to us, a physical sign with the help of his hand. And by this sign he implied that school is dismissed, you may go. He announced the end of the class with a gesture of his hand. He could not speak. He lost his ability to speak. He choked. He could not even take breath. He could not continue standing. He leaned back. This is the emotion. This is the attachment. This is the love for one's own land, for one's own language, for one's own people. So this lesson, we have come to an end of this lesson, but what we told earlier is that certain very relevant issues of our life is discussed. One thing is that for teaching learning to be successful, teachers, students and guardians all should be united, all should cooperate with each other. It is not a single man's job. Secondly, we should not postpone things. If you do not do things on time, the same thing will happen to you what have happened to the people of Alsace. And this happens to many students. They do not study well. Now also we are providing you videos and we are taking live classes. Many of you don't attend. Then when there will be only 1 month left for the exam, then you will become upset and you will lose your confidence, and you will be just running from pillar to post to find the notes and materials and to learn, and the time will be very less. So do things on time, otherwise you will have to repent, and then you will not get any way out. And then another thing is that see the dedication when it comes to your language, the attachment. We are now having people who send their children to English medium schools, and their children learn English, but they do not learn their mother language. And some parents are very proud of this. Amar foye to Ohomia koito pare na, Bangla koito pare na, mul lorai Ohomia koboi nuare. This is a pride, not a pride it is. You have to know your language. English you learn, everything you learn, but your own mother language, that is the first thing. You have to love it. You have to be very attached to it. You have to be intimate with it. This is what this lesson tells us, that if you do not love your language, if you do not learn your language, then a time may come when some others will capture you, and your opportunity, your right to learn your own language in your own land will be lost, and then you will not be able to do anything. So love your language, love not only your language, love everything that belongs to you, your parents, your home, your relatives, your land, your books, your teachers, your friends, whatever is yours, love it. Whatever is yours, give value to it. And if you do not do it, then a time will come when you will not get a chance to love it. So this lesson carries a lot of meaning. Also it carries another message that Emmanuel on the very last day of the class, he is still doing his job so sincerely. He has not started trying and wasting his time. He, in the very last class, he is teaching everything. So, we should learn these lessons from this lesson, that we have to do our things on time, we have to do our own job, we are not to blame others. The teacher has to do his job, the students have to do their job, parents have to play their part, then only things will come. It is teamwork, it is not a single man's job. And if we can learn these lessons from this lesson, and if we work accordingly, then only this lesson will be of use. This is a very beautiful message, it is a very beautiful lesson. There is tragedy, but there is beauty in the way it is presented. I hope you have got it, and with this we will end this video, and with this we will end this lesson also. In the live classrooms we will discuss more things in more details, and then next time I will meet you with a new video with a new topic. Thank you very much till then.